have made more money for my students and myself over the years by avoiding these 5 mistakes in the candle making business. I'm going to show you what not to do so you can make more money too. Let's go. Hi, my name is Jay Catalano. Neglecting your branding. A lot of newbies, and some old timers too, think branding is just the act of starting a business and creating a logo. And while these are a piece of the branding pie, they don't define what branding truly is. Branding is the emotional connection your audience feels with your business.
Tissue for your issue?
A business without branding is just transactional. You make a product, you sell a product, you make another product, and the cycle continues. In the early stages of UpVibe's journey, I knew that branding was pretty high up on the importance scale. I methodically tried to establish coloring, fonts, voice, and an identity that would resonate with my target audience. You. Every detail from the tone of UpVibe's messaging to the visual elements was designed to create a brand that felt authentic, approachable, and memorable. Personally, most candle makers I see are just businesses and nothing more. There is little to no thought behind their brand, and in my opinion, those businesses eventually fail. Now, I truly hope they don't, but without branding, it's like playing hide and seek. The problem, you're hiding, but no one's seeking. So what's my goal? The goal is to remind you, help you, stimulate you into thinking about how branding works for your business. Now, here's a quick example, and please know I'm not trying to be self-serving when I say this.
Yeah, okay.
If this is your first video, welcome to the UpVibe brand. I truly am glad you're here. But if you've seen more than one video, that's proof that branding doesn't just catch attention, it keeps it. Ignoring customer feedback. Customer feedback is extremely important, especially in the early stages. A common question I see coming up again and again in candle making Facebook groups is, what should I do when something goes wrong with a candle I've created, but it wasn't my fault? Here's the problem. Even if it's not your fault, 100% not your fault, what do you gain by not giving them a new candle? Here's a better question. What do you lose? Let's say your candle costs $3 to make and $5 to ship, which equals $8. If you need to send a replacement candle, it would cost you $16 in total. $8 for the original and $8 for the replacement. But, and this is a big but, your customer paid $25 for that candle. That means you still have a $9 profit. However, if you decide to play hardball with your customer because you believe you aren't at fault, you stand to lose a hell of a lot more. Now, I get it. Sometimes it feels like customers are trying to take advantage of you, or maybe you're worried they're lying.
Stop lying.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't know 100% that they're in the wrong, why guess? Just fix the problem quickly. These situations are usually one-off occurrences, so handling them fast means you can move on and focus on the bigger picture. Whenever things happen like this, and by the way, it doesn't happen often, I solve the problem quickly without overthinking it. Why? The headache, loss of time, and potential future business from this person far outweighs the $16. Think about it. A happy customer is much more likely to come back, buy again, leave positive reviews, and recommend your brand to others. Do you really want to lose that much because your profit was cut down to only $9? And don't forget, word of mouth spreads quickly. If a customer has a bad experience, they'll tell others, and that could cost you even more in the long run. Listen, this is only one portion of customer feedback. There are so many other situations that come up, and we as business people can't ignore them. In fact, we have to do all we can to anticipate their needs, exceed their expectations, and turn every interaction into an opportunity to show them we truly care. Customer feedback isn't just about fixing problems, it's about building a relationship. When customers feel heard and valued, just like you want to be heard and valued, they're more likely to return and even become loyal advocates for your brand. So next time a candle goes rogue, think of it as a small price to pay for a whole lot of future love. After all, it's better to light up a customer's day than to let your profits go up in smoke. Curious about making your own concrete candle jars? My online course, The Winning Formula, makes it simple and enjoyable. Get step-by-step instruction, plus direct access to me anytime to streamline the process and save you time, money, and headache. Let's go. Underpricing your products. Pricing is not always easy to determine, but there is one thing I have learned over the years. It's better to price your products for value, not just to compete.
So smart.
When you underprice, you not only risk undervaluing your work, but you also set the expectation that your products are worth less than they truly are. And here's the thing, a lot of people actually want to pay a bit more for items as long as they feel they're getting something of value. But the moment they feel taken advantage of, they'll never trust your brand again. It's a fine balance, but, and this is an even bigger but, if you undervalue your products, you risk attracting the wrong audience, lowering your brand's overall value, and leaving a lot of money on the table. Pricing isn't just about numbers, it's about perception. Think about it. It's kind of like when you meet someone amazing who's still single and your brain immediately says,
"Oh, in heaven's name, what's wrong with you?"
When something doesn't match our expectations, we start questioning its value. That's exactly how customers think when they see prices that seem too good to be true. And here's the kicker. If your pricing doesn't inspire confidence, your customers might walk away faster than you can say, "But it's a great deal." So stop pricing like you're running a clearance sale. Charge what you're worth, because if you don't value your products, why should anyone else? Lacking a consistent social media presence. I'm not saying this to brag or boast, but to make a point. I make money because of social media. Good money. While most people are joining the latest social media app, including my kids, I'm writing scripts. While most people are cranking their necks looking at the latest reel, I'm editing a video. While most people are sharing posts, I'm double checking analytics. Now, to be fair, social media isn't easy. It's a slippery slope. You can pour your heart and soul into a video thinking it's your best creation ever, and then it flops. Or you can quickly toss together an unthoughtful clip and it unexpectedly takes off. Yes, it's frustrating, but here's the biggest truth. Consistency beats perfection every time. Think of social media like planting seeds. Some will sprout, some won't, but if you don't keep planting, you'll never grow a garden, a financial garden. The key isn't to try to get as many views, likes, and shares. It's to keep showing up. Now, over time, your audience learns to trust you, and that trust leads to growth. And when it feels like no one's watching, someone always is, because the biggest mistake you can make on social media isn't posting a flop. It's not posting at all. Not tracking your finances. When I first started, I'll admit numbers weren't exactly my strong suit. I had a passion for creating, and that was enough, right? I mean, after all, it's all about the passion. But here's the thing. Passion doesn't pay the bills, and trust me, not keeping track of your finances is a recipe for disaster.
This is a disaster.
I learned the hard way. There was a time early on when I was so focused on creating the perfect candle, I didn't even know how much each batch was costing me. I thought, I'll just sell a few, cover my expenses, and everything will be fine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Tracking your finances isn't just about knowing how much money you've made or lost. It's about understanding where you can cut costs, where to invest more, and where your opportunities for growth are hiding. It's about knowing when to reinvest in your business and when to slow down and take a breather. Now, I get it. Numbers can be boring, confusing, and maybe even scary. It's way more fun to pick out new scents or brainstorm creative names for your candles. But let me tell you, if you want to scale your business and keep it running smoothly, your finances need to be on point. And don't fool yourself into thinking a simple mental note of what you're spending will cut it. I tried that too. Spreadsheets or an accounting app are your best friends. It's like having a map in a maze. Without them, you're just bumping into walls. One of the best things I did for my business was getting a handle on my finances and understanding my costs. It's honestly how I started making more money. I even put together a video to share how to calculate your cost of goods so you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. The best part, it helped me set prices with a lot more confidence. Like I said before, tracking your finances isn't just about knowing if you're making money. It's about taking control of your business and your sanity. Because let's face it, running your business without tracking your finances is like driving blindfolded. You'll eventually end up somewhere, but it won't lead you on the road to success. And take a look at these videos that are popping up now. They're going to help you on your concrete, hydrostone, and candle making journey. Until next time, thanks for watching. Ciao.